Hello beautiful people, I think it is pretty safe to say winter is well and truly here, and it has been pretty cold down in Victoria. I'm talking regular sub-zeros overnight, lots of frost around, very icy, but I'm pretty excited for this one because we do finally this weekend get to make the most of this seasonal weather and head up to the snow. So in this video I will actually be exploring with a few friends. We've got a crew of 5 headed out this weekend. We're going to be doing a Friday, Saturday, Sunday little stint up to the snow on Mount Hotham, staying in one of the lodges there, hitting the slopes, trying to snowboard. That's going to be a very new experience for me, but also exploring a bit around the snow, so I wanted to take you guys along for the journey. Now, as you can currently see, I am actually in town at the moment. I'm staying with my brother who's going to be coming with me up on this trip. So I am in Albury, Wodonga at the moment. It is sunny, which is a really positive sign, but I've got my jacket on already because it's not overly warm. We are going to head off this afternoon though, head straight up to Hotham, so we should be there tonight. I'll give you a little bit of a look along the way and then what we get up to. Also, quickly before I do jump into this video, I do just want to say I have spent very little time in the snow, so this one is very exciting for me. I did, when I was I think about 13, go over to New Zealand with family. We very briefly skied there and visited the snow. I'm talking like saw the snow for like one day and jumped on the skis for a couple hours. I literally have not touched them since then, so it will be a very interesting experience. Other than that, I have recently seen snow on Mount Hotham, like very start of the winter season. I actually got up there in my car and got caught in the snow. That was an interesting experience. And then more recently camping with 2 of the guys from this trip, so my brother and his housemate. We did do a camping trip up in the mountains in High Country as well in the snow, which was absolutely freezing. It will be very nice this time to be out of a swag and in a lodge up there, but it will be a pretty cool experience, I think. Alrighty, that said, let's jump into it. So pretty much as soon as the boys got back from work, we packed everything up and hit the road. Obviously, as you can see, taking my brother's 4-wheel drive. Firstly, because it has more than 2 seats in it at the moment, unlike my little car which is still set up to travel. And secondly, because it handles a lot better on slippery roads and icy conditions. Now you can see I've got literally all the gear and snowboards in the back with me. Our boards, boots, etc. are borrowed from friends, being our first time, so big thank you to them for that. Then the drive up to Hotham village from there is I think about 2.5 hours, so still a fair way to go, and beautiful sunset colours there already, along with a quick stop for some servo food in classic road trip fashion. Next stop is Hoy's in Harriettville for all things snow gear and chain hire, seeing as you do legally have to carry chains up the mountain regardless of weather during the official snow season. This is also where we were meeting the rest of our crew, so just to show you quickly, this is the team for the weekend. Pretty cool little squad if I do say so myself. Quick rundown on the chains and where to actually find our accommodation, which was super helpful. Loaded up the new gear and back on the road. At least to the first checkpoint, again being the official snow season, just to make sure we had passes and at least some clue what we were doing.
Now we have been told the weather conditions are going to be crap up the top of the mountain, so you're going to need to be careful. Yep. There's no one fitting chains up there and there's no signs where to fit chains. It's all just happened in the last half hour. No worries. So you're going to need to make your own assessment of what to do. Yep. No worries. Otherwise have fun.
Awesome. Sounds brilliant.
Cheers.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers.
Now, despite that warning, the weather was actually really good. There was next to no ice on the road majority of the way up and no snowfall even on the ground until well over 1,000 meters. So no need for chains this trip, which is a lot more than I can say for the weather on the previous snow trip the 3 of us did. When we headed up Hotham and turned off to Mount Freezeout, it was basically just a complete whiteout for that camping trip. Luckily, plenty of snow still sitting up around the summit, so absolutely freezing, but regardless, gorgeous to come into and finish off the drive before we could jump out and grab the gear and head on out of the cold. Now, I don't know about yourself if you've ever stayed in a snow lodge, but basically most of them are located back off the road, so you have to find it and then carry your gear up, which is totally fine. The thing for me was more that I had no clue where we were going, so I'm pretty sure I would have gotten completely lost just looking for it if I was there by myself, as everything looks pretty much identical when it's covered in a layer of snow. Anyway, we did find it, and for anyone interested in knowing what a ski lodge looks like, this is a very quick tour inside of our room. Beautiful snow out the window and essentially the same setup for all the rooms, so you can grab your crew and just have somewhere to bunk down. There's also like a main hall and common area, which I'll just show you now. Great communal kitchen, tables, fireplace, all that sort of thing, and once again, very exciting to have beautiful snowy views out the windows. So day 2 of our trip was obviously our first actual full day and also our first snowboarding day, which we kicked off with this absolutely gorgeous view. Same as the night before, but clearly a bit easier to see now that the sun was actually up. And just a nice group breakfast there as well. This place was completely climate controlled inside, so that really helped to just stay comfortable and warm. Now this is where the real fun starts, because to be completely honest with you, between the 5 of us, we had next to no actual snowboarding experience, so it was kind of a case of just strap in and hope for the best. We did start off small just on the slopes next to the lodges, but as you'll see here, even trying to get in and out of our gear was a bit of a learning experience for us. Nonetheless, we did finally make it to the slopes. This is us just quickly waiting for friends, and then this is the actual spot. This particular ski lift area is called Big D, and it's a mix of beginner and moderate slopes, perfect if you're just getting the balance on your board like we were. The ski lift was a whole heap of fun and just beautiful on the way up. Basically, if you've never been on one before, what you do is strap one foot into your snowboard and push yourself along with the other, so you can get in front of the lift to jump on while it basically just keeps moving towards you. You lower your safety bar down, you don't have to hold onto your board, and you're basically just good to go until you reach the top. From there, you rest your foot back on your board, push off of the chair, and hope you're coordinated enough to make it off. Kind of like this. Unfortunately for me, being extra uncoordinated with my feet strapped to a board, that took some getting used to, and the first few runs looked a bit more like this. And this. And this. And a few stacks like this, which if nothing, was a pretty good laugh and still a whole lot of fun. Overall, I did end up getting a fair bit better and feeling more comfortable on my feet, so here's me gliding around by the end of the day. And by this point, the boys were absolutely smashing it, so here's a longer look at the run that they took from their GoPro. For reference, it's about a 450 meter slope, so they were having a fair bit of fun there. We did go out to dinner at Jack Frost, which is one of the local restaurants, and then finished off with some table tennis. Day 3 and our final day was easily the biggest. We did have to be out of the lodge, but I did also have something very special planned for the morning, which was to go dog sledding in the snow with my brother. This is something that's been on my bucket list for absolutely ages now, and really something I'd struggled to do, firstly because I'm just never at the snow, and secondly because dog teams across Buller, Hotham and Dinner Plain are being booked out up to months in advance. At this point, I'd even directly called the crew at the Australian sled dog tours and couldn't get in, so I was pretty excited when I managed to get a last-minute booking that fit in with our trip. The actual ride was a whole lot of fun, so I want to show you what it's actually like to be in a dog sled. Probably not something I'd be rushing to book again, just because it was a one-off experience I wanted to try, but super thrilled that I did get to do it and overall loved the whole experience and would recommend it. Out of interest, also, the dog teams running through Howling Huskies at Hotham are actually ex or rescued sled race dogs. And this is us having a bit of a pat and meet and play at the end of our ride. From here, we had a bit of time left, so headed straight back to the slopes at Big D to kick off from yesterday. The boys got pretty good at doing S-turns and controlling the board, which is awesome, or at least I think for a 2-day effort. And this is me just celebrating consistently making it off the chairlift without stacking. Because, you know, you've got to celebrate the little things. Anyway, this is some footage from our final few runs before the lifts shut, and honestly just so much fun to be out on the snow. We did, however, have to leave eventually though, so we grabbed our gear and headed off. A few final stops to Hotham Central on the way out, as well as the Blowhard Hut just further down the mountain, as we'd been there together not that long before the season, as I said on that camping trip. Absolutely icy inside, the wind blows snow right through the floor, so it's safe to say we were pretty grateful to have been staying up in the lodge instead of on a camping trip this time. Then finally back down the mountain once again, no need for chains whatsoever, the weather was great and just an absolute beautiful sunset to finish off the trip with. Alrighty guys, so we did obviously all make it back to Albury in one piece, which is awesome. Overall the weekend was amazing, such a fun experience snowboarding and obviously getting on that dog sled as well. Absolute bucket list adventure that I've been meaning to tick off for a while, so that was really, really awesome to be able to do that one this weekend as well. Before I do wrap up this video though, being my first time snowboarding, I really quickly wanted to show you the aftermath because for me at least, falling off was a pretty big part of the experience. That said, I did get back on, so I'm pretty proud of myself for that. Now my knees didn't turn out too bad. I did that hiking somewhere the other day, but if you have a look at my leg here, this is the nice bruise I got. You can see all up here is bruised. Luckily for me, it's only a surface bruise, it doesn't really hurt whatsoever. But what happened was getting off the lift, you have one foot strapped in and one not. That was a really different experience for me. You just sort of have to go, the lift doesn't stop for you. I took a really awkward fall on my boot binding as I came off with my loose leg, so right where you strap your boot in, that is what these nice little bruises here are from. So that was definitely a learning experience for me, and I thought I would just share that along the way. I think though the boys were pretty right with theirs. They only took a few minor falls, so we were all very lucky to come out of it pretty well uninjured there. That said though, I am about to wrap up this video here. It was a wonderful weekend, so I do thank you all for joining me, and I hope I will have some more winter content for you all again soon.